Václav Havel, Letters to Olga. From letter number 91, written on August 29th, 1981. Dear Olga, today I have served half my sentence, and so I've written a request for parole, and also a letter to my lawyer in which I've asked him, among other things, to visit me sometime. Please let him know about any eventual moves I may have to make. When I was still in Hermanice, something happened to me that superficially was in no way remarkable, but was nevertheless very profoundly important to me internally. I had an afternoon shift. It was wonderful summer weather. I was sitting on a pile of iron, resting, thinking over my own affairs, and at the same time gazing at the crown of a single tree some distance beyond the fence. The sky was dark blue, cloudless. The air was hot and still. The leaves of the tree shimmered and trembled slightly. And slowly but surely, I found myself in a very strange and wonderful state of mind. I imagined I was lying somewhere in the grass beneath the tree, doing nothing, expecting nothing, worrying about nothing, simply letting the intoxication of hot summer day possess me. Suddenly, it seems to me that all the beautiful summer days I had ever experienced and would yet experience were present in that moment. I had direct physical memories of the summers I spent in Žárec as a child. I could smell the hay, the pond, and I don't know what else. As I write this, it seems like a parody of passage from one of my plays, but what can I do? And anyway, isn't it parody often merely an attempt at self-control by stepping back a little from oneself and one's secret emotions? I seem to be experiencing in my mind a moment of supreme bliss, of infinite joy. All the other important joys, such as the presence of those I love, seemed latent in that moment. And though I felt physically intoxicated by it, there was far more to it than that. It was a moment of supreme self-awareness, a supremely elevating state of the soul, a total and totally harmonic merging of existence with itself and with the entire world. So far, there was nothing especially unusual about this. The important thing was that because of this experience, which contrasted so entirely with my prison house ironworks reality, was more sudden and urgent than usual. I realized more clearly something I had felt only dimly in such moments before, which is that this state of supreme bliss inevitably contains the hint of a vaguely constricting anxiety, the faint echo of infinite yearning, the strange undertone of a deep and inconsolable sense of futility. One is exhilarated. One has everything imaginable. One neither needs nor wants anything any longer, and yet, simultaneously, it seems as though one had nothing, that one's happiness were no more than a tragic mirage, with no purpose and leading nowhere. In short, the more wonderful the moment, the more clearly that telltale question arises, and then what? What more? What else and what next? What is to be done with it? And what will come of it? It is, I would say, an experience of the limits of the finite. One has approached the uttermost limits of the meaning that his finite, worldly existence can offer him that spontaneous and unmetaphysical meaning. And for this very reason, he is suddenly given a glimpse into the abyss of the infinite, of uncertainty, of mystery. There is simply nowhere else to go, except into emptiness, into the abyss itself. This is the familiar dialectic of life and death. The more intensely and fully one lives and is aware of one's life, the more powerfully there comes to meet him, from the bowels of his experience, that which makes being, life and meaning what they are. Their opposite, non-being, death and nothingness, the only background against which they can be measured and defined. I think everyone must have experienced this at some time. In a moment of supreme happiness, it suddenly occurs to you that there is nothing left now but death. A feeling, by the way, that has entered into common speech, for we say, "I love you" to death, "see Naples and die," etc. This vague anxiety, this breath of infinite non-fulfillment emanating from an experience of the greatest fulfillment, this sensation of terrifying incomprehensibility that blooms in a moment of firmest comprehension, can always be brushed aside like a bothersome piece of fluff. You may wait till the cloud temporarily covering the sun passes by and go on living in peace and delight without asking troublesome questions. But you may also do the opposite. Forget about all the spontaneous meaningfulness that gave you such supreme pleasure. Forget about the answer given before the question was posed, and stop precisely at the point where the cold air from the abyss struck you the most powerfully. When you felt most intensely that in fact you have nothing, know nothing, and worst of all, do not even know what you want, and bravely confront the question that comes to mind in such moments. That is the genuine, profound, and essential metaphysical question of the meaning of life.